Survivor's Log, Day 1. Our camp's resources and rations have been depleted at a far quicker rate than we had hoped. There are only the bland, healthy cereals left. The last of the fruity pebbles were squandered, carelessly, as if we thought the next day would never arrive, or that salvation would. The memory of their delicious, sweet, fruity flavor lives only in our memories now. This morning, while out scouting and gathering for our tribe, I came across a small feral child who was too young to remember what a Kardashian was. It seems that my people's history, too, is now lost to the sands of time in this barren, apocalyptic wasteland. Survivor's Log, Day 2. I try to remain hopeful, and I spend my evening telling tales around a bonfire of a time when shiny steel chariots, called Ubers, would whisk us away to grand illuminated theaters that would show prequels and sequels to expensive franchises where digital effects were prioritized over substance and acting ability. A place where we carelessly spend $12 on a single bag of M&Ms. My tales bring happy tears to our camp's elders. The youngest ones just laughed me off as a crazy old fool. Last night, I tried to fashion a fishing lure out of an old shoelace. But, as we wear nothing but pajamas and slippers now, I was left defeated as the exact whereabouts of any footwear from my previous life has long been forgotten. Like much of our lives before the incident, all of those comforts and treasures of days past have been traded in exchange for group searches of unseen TV series and to concentrate on evading the rogue scavengers out to pillage our stockpile of memes. Survivor's Log, Day 3. Excuse me. Tomorrow, I plan to lead a small caravan to venture away from this unforgiving and dried-up wasteland in search of more promising shelter in a far-off place called the guest room. Well, such a place may very well only be the whispered of things of dreams and rumors or myth, the hope of a chance for survival elsewhere in this post-Armageddon life is better than continuing to rot away here after such a long 72 hours with the remote control being so far out of reach over there on the other table. Though our current fortified shelter, lined with Chef Boyardee cans, has shielded us from demise thus far, and though I'm told that the local waters here have been blessed with life by the digital gods of live stream, it is time to brave the challenge and to push forward as nomadic pilgrims, to relocate in order to preserve what remains of our race. Besides, I'm like 30% sure that I left a can of Pringles in my suitcase by that guest room last week after our trip to Atlantic City. Survivor's Log, Day 7, 12, 34. I no longer know. My ability to keep track of the days or even the months has long since fleeted, just as my memory of how to Dougie or how to dance a Macarena has. I make this final log entry today as I fear that my recollection of spoken language is deteriorating as I, like all those around me, seem to be devolving back into a primal state where our base instincts to feed and to sleep and to feed and to sleep are paramount above all else. The elders of our tribe's camp implore us to hang on to any hint of our forgotten culture. They chant musical tales, ones about gods of old, like milkshakes bringing boys to some distant yard, and the story of a seemingly fertile man named Brady who is bringing up 3 boys of his own. Our youngest warriors still dismiss it all as superstitious ritual of an ancient era which the gods have deleted. I myself find the musical tales catchy, but I digress. as I set off on a long journey ahead of a 6-season series that will test my will and my attention, and as I prepare rations and strength to navigate my way through the gauntlet challenge that our people have come to name the binge, I leave you with these words of solemn advice for survivors via 2 traditional prayers from the days of yore of that long-distant era. Quote, "Bitch, real G's move in silence like lasagna," spoken by Lil Wayne, a mystical wise man. And quote, "Take the G out of your waffle, all you got left is your ego." The words of Childish Gambino, a scholarly philosopher. To whomever finds these scrolls in the distant future, and when these lands are once again fruitful and the air is left clean by the subsided plague, I hope they will help you to learn from our errors and our pride. One day, there may be a generation who can once again leave their shelters without fear and find a decent 2-for-1 happy hour. Or the treat of having someone with a lazy eye talking so close to you that their spittle lands on your face. But without plague, you don't even have to worry or be concerned about that, and instead, you just try to figure out which eye to look at, and ultimately end up just alternating between both while pretending there's nothing uncomfortable at all about the situation. These are the glories and luxuries that we once took for granted before we were forced into hiding, and which we didn't appreciate until they were taken from us just as surely as Kenny Rogers was. Godspeed to you all. Shit, I was talking too long. Now my Stouffer's Deluxe French bread pizza is burnt. Great. This apocalypse is so unforgiving.